US President Joe Biden has touched down in Northern Ireland, where he was greeted by Britain's Rishi Sunak on the tarmac late Tuesday. The president is there to mark 25 years since the Good Friday Agreement, a peace deal that largely ended decades of bloodshed, and to celebrate his Irish roots, a heritage he's fiercely proud of. Biden told reporters on Air Force One his top priority was to, quote, keep the peace and support recent post-Brexit trade deals that allow Northern Ireland to fully access the EU's single market and customs union. But a shadow was cast over the occasion. A protest from Northern Ireland's pro-British unionists threatens to unravel the province's mandatory power-sharing government, a key part of the agreement. For a year now, the Democratic Unionist Party has boycotted the National Assembly and other institutions in anger at post-Brexit trade rules which treat Northern Ireland differently to the rest of the UK. Biden is expected to meet officials from the 5 main Northern Irish parties on Wednesday. He may float the possibility of closer investment ties between the US and Northern Ireland to encourage an end to the impasse. Security concerns were also raised on Tuesday by the discovery of 4 pipe bombs in Londonderry, a city 70 miles from where Biden is staying. Police in a statement linked the explosive devices to Irish nationalist rioters who attacked police there on Monday.
The Pentagon's top official spoke out for the first time about the recent leak of classified U.S. intelligence on Tuesday. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said the United States will investigate the release until they find its source. He's the first senior U.S. official to comment on the incident, which included what appeared to be closely guarded secrets on Ukraine.
We take this very seriously, and we will continue to investigate and turn over every rock until we find the source of this and the extent of it.
Reuters reviewed more than 50 of the classified documents in question, labeled Secret and Top Secret, which first appeared on social media sites in March. But Reuters has not independently verified the documents' authenticity. The files reveal details of military capabilities of some U.S. allies and adversaries. Some of the most sensitive information is reportedly related to Ukraine's military strengths and shortcomings. One document also mentions the small number of Western Special Forces troops in Ukraine.
The documents that we are aware of are dated the 28th of February, 1st of March. I don't know if there are other documents that have been online before. These are things that we will find out as we continue to investigate. We will continue to work closely with our outstanding allies and partners, and nothing will ever stop us from keeping America secure.
Austin said he was first made aware of the leak about a week ago. The matter is now passed to the Department of Justice, which is leading a criminal investigation. The disclosure, which also revealed the U.S.'s apparent surveillance of its allies, could be the gravest leak of U.S. secrets since the 2013 publication of thousands of documents on WikiLeaks. Some national security experts and government officials say they suspect the leaker could be American, given the breadth of topics covered by the materials.
Louisville Police released Bodycam footage Tuesday from the 2 officers who were the first to arrive at the scene of Monday's mass shooting at a bank, where a 25-year-old employee opened fire, killing 5 and critically wounding several others. In these images, the shooter can be seen from within the bank, armed with a weapon. Police say the gunman, who was identified as Connor Sturgeon, was making his way to the front of the lobby after shooting his victims in order to ambush arriving officers from a higher vantage point. Following reports of an active shooter, officers Nicholas Wilt and Corey Galloway are the first to arrive on scene. Almost immediately, the suspect fires upon the officers. Officer Wilt, who was in training, is then shot in the head. He remains in hospital in critical condition. Galloway, his training officer, sustains a minor wound and finds a safe place to shelter.
I think I got him down! I think he's down!
Eventually, he finds a clear vantage point to shoot and kill the gunman. The entire encounter between the officers and the suspect lasts 7 minutes. Deputy Chief Paul Humphrey praises the actions of his colleagues.
Response wasn't perfect, but it was exactly the response we needed. I think I would love to have either one of those officers ride with me any day.
Louisville Police Chief Jacqueline Gwynn Villarroel told reporters earlier that the gun used to carry out the attack was bought legally at a local dealership last week.
We do know that this was targeted. He knew those individuals, of course, because he worked there. And the evil that was played out on yesterday, taking those lives and injuring so many others, just truly unfortunate.
The incident is the 146th mass shooting in the United States so far this year. 40 people have been killed by gun violence in Louisville in 2023 to date, according to Mayor Craig Greenberg, who called for action.
I don't care about finger pointing. I don't care about blame. I don't care about politics. I'm only interested in working together with our state legislators to take meaningful action, to save lives, to prevent more tragic injuries and more death.
Fighting raged in the frontline cities in eastern Ukraine Tuesday as Russian forces launched airstrikes and artillery attacks. Footage from a Ukrainian soldier's bodycam video, released by the Border Service, showed fighters launching rocket-propelled grenades and shooting rifles in the destroyed yard of a house, purported to be the besieged city of Bakhmut. Ukrainian officials said its forces repelled dozens of attacks as the Russian military kept up its effort to take control of Bakhmut. The battle for the small, now largely ruined city on the edge of Russian-controlled territory in Donetsk has been the bloodiest of the war as Moscow tries to revive its campaign after recent setbacks. Both sides have suffered heavy casualties in the Bakhmut fighting. Near the front line, under the cover of darkness, medical volunteers loaded wounded soldiers into a bus converted into an ambulance to bring them to a hospital in the city of Dnipro. Maria, a 23-year-old volunteer paramedic, told Reuters that during a 2-week rotation, she and her team evacuated hundreds of wounded soldiers.
This bus has been operational for around 2 months, so we evacuated nearly 600 people. This bus makes a whole difference as it saves people's lives.
Tens of thousands of soldiers have been killed and wounded on both sides of the conflict since Russia invaded Ukraine last year. The ambulance effort involves rotating teams of volunteers who spend several weeks on call, ready when injured soldiers need transport from the front line. Both trained medics and volunteers without a medical background serve.
It is very important for me because I have a connection to what we are doing. I work in the field, which I know, and where I am confident that I will do my best. Each of us has a mission, and this is my mission.
Donetsk is one of 4 provinces in eastern and southern Ukraine that Russia declared annexed last year and is seeking to fully occupy. Last week, President Volodymyr Zelensky said troops could be withdrawn from Bakhmut if they ran the risk of being encircled. Kiev and the West say the smashed city has only symbolic importance.
Large clouds of dark ash rose into the skies of Russia's far eastern Kamchatka Peninsula after one of the country's most active volcanoes erupted on Tuesday. It's 9 in the morning, said one woman under a darkened sky. The ash is falling. The Shiveluch volcano erupted just after midnight and reached its peak about 6 hours later. The ash cloud from the volcano covered almost 42,000 square miles, according to the Kamchatka branch of Russia's Geophysical Survey. It created the deepest ash the area has seen in 60 years. Tuesday's event could have a larger impact on the climate than the massive eruption at a volcano in Iceland in 2010, said WWF climatologist Alexei Kokorin.
This effect will cause some small cooling, maybe 0.1 Celsius degrees, maybe even less, maybe a bit more, nobody knows yet. In short period, maybe 1 year, maybe smaller, maybe a bit larger. Anyway, it's small effect, but effect in cooling.
Around 24 hours after the initial eruption, a 5.8 magnitude earthquake struck off the Kamchatka coast, the Geological Survey said. Russian scientists said the quake was an aftershock from another earthquake that happened on April 3rd. About 300,000 people live on the vast peninsula, which extends into the Pacific Ocean northeast of Japan. There were no immediate reports of casualties, but experts warn that further major ash clouds could appear. The Kamchatka Volcanic Eruption Response Team also issued a red notice for aviation and cautioned that ongoing volcanic activity could affect international and low-flying aircrafts. Shivaluch's last major eruption happened in 2007. It's had an estimated 60 substantial eruptions in the past 10,000 years.